We are all packed up, ready to rock. We're about to go on a pretty big journey and we're gonna film it and share it with you. So now we're on a bus, we're on the way to the metro and then we go to a train station. We're in Moscow, Russia, by the way, if anybody new is just tuning in. We planned this whole trip yesterday. Basically, we booked everything. We bought the train tickets yesterday, and we are going south. So we'll give you some more details real soon. All right, this is the metro. There's a big M up there. That means metro here in Moscow, like the subway, underground train. Moscow is a cool city and it's very developed, has many cool things in many ways. But one thing that's not so good is if you have a wheelchair or if you have a stroller. So this is basically the best you get, and sometimes they don't even have this. Same thing to get down to the train, and this is the platform of the metro. Alright, this is one of the older trains. Alright, mind the gap. Alright. That's what they look like. We're at the train station. One of, I don't know, how many train stations are there in Moscow? 9.
I can be wrong.
This one is called Kursky.
Yeah.
Because it goes towards Kursk. I mean, some of the trains.
You always need to double check, like, is it the right train station?
Yeah, if you buy any train tickets in Moscow, you have to be very careful about which station it is. Yeah. This kind of things have sort of just become the norm for us, so I don't even like think to film sometimes. But I mean, Moscow is just always tons of people, always loads of people everywhere, and everything is pretty big. I mean, the ceiling is way up there. We're just little ants down here. Loads of taxis, lots of announcements only in Russian. There is more and more English, especially since the World Cup, so you can see English translations here below the signs in Russian. Now we're just waiting because we don't know what platform our train's going to arrive on yet. We still got another 20 minutes left. There's lots of familiar food chains in Moscow and Russia in general for those of you who might need them. It's Pizza Hut, KFC, McDonald's here and the train station. Evita's loving it so far. How are you? Is everything okay? A bit dark in there, but she's pretty content so far. We finally know what platform we're on, and we're walking underneath the platforms right now to platform 7. So actually it's the 7th track, but the 3rd platform. So that's the 8th track, I think. This is the 7th. This is our train. I think that we have a bit of a newer car this time, train car. So we are in the train. This is Evita's first time in the train. I mean, not counting the metro. Hello, Evita. So this is what's called second class. Most people in English call it. In Russian it's called coupe. So there's 4 beds. So we've only paid for the bottom 2 here. So there could be 2 people up top, but last time we checked nobody had booked it yet. And then there's this long hallway, and every room has a door. So you can close this door. So these are especially great if you have 4 people, because you're with your friends. But if it's just like one of you, 2 of you, it can be a little bit weird if there's you know, strangers in the same room. They actually even have some well, you okay? Yeah, they have some that are like only for women, and I think some that are only for men, and then some that are mixed, and then some that whatever, like I guess just mixed, because I think ours is mixed. But hopefully we will be alone. So we're going all the way to Voronezh. It's about 500 kilometers south, and it is a 13-hour train ride. There are some trains that do it in like 8 hours, but we got a long one.
Yeah, it's a nice one.
It's nice because you have time to get a full night's sleep in. You don't have to like spend all your time like making your bed and then getting into bed, then falling asleep, and then you have to wake up and you know, put everything away and get ready to get out before you get a good sleep in. But we got 13 hours, so we should have more than enough time.
And this is not the newest like train, but not the oldest, so this is something in the middle, and
yeah,
it's very nice. And it has outlets,
so yeah, there are 220 volt outlets right down here, which is the standard here in Russia, just like in most of Europe. And there are USB outlets up top here, which is Nice for the people upstairs, if they actually work.
You can hear the washroom. Or...
Oh yes, yeah, the bathroom is right next to us. We have the last one. For most trains in Russia now, you can actually just show the ticket on your phone. So it's very convenient. And by the way, this ticket, 13-hour train, cost 2,961 rubles for each person. There is like a third class and a first class, you could say, also. And we'll do another video where I'll show the different classes of trains, or you can just Google it, I'm sure you can find them already. And when you're ready to sleep, you just fold down the seats here at the bottom, so you have a much wider bed with a more comfortable mattress. So no matter if you're in third class or second class, and first class it's the same, I believe, you get just a bag full of stuff. There are sheets in here, 2 sheets, a pillowcase, and a towel. That's usually the standard. And there's always some towels laying around. So there should be a towel, one for each person in each room, I guess, compartment. It's pretty straightforward, but you just basically lay down the sheet as it's convenient, and usually we tuck it in under each side so that it doesn't come up, just like this. And you get a convenient, relatively clean bed, because you don't know how often they clean the mattresses. Evita is sleeping very peacefully to the sound of the train, and we
made the bed.
Oh, we made the beds, yeah. My bed's made over there as well. You can see. And I put the pillow and the sheet over there. I usually just put them under the pillow because I never use a sheet. Usually never use a sheet on top of me in the train because it's always warm to me in the summer and the winter. In the winter it's especially hot. In the summer, I don't know, they say there's AC, but I don't feel it. It's warmer than I'd like it to be. While Evita's sleeping, we thought we would just tell you briefly what we're doing, where we're going. So I said it's a big trip, I think at the beginning of the video. It's kind of big. We'll be gone for a month. So I guess that's a big trip for most people, since most people don't have that much vacation time. But we don't have regular jobs, so we're free, and that's awesome. And we've sort of like been wanting to go on a trip for a long time, like since, I don't know, there's just always been something that has come up. Well, we did a trip around Europe, as you saw on this channel, in the fall, but after that I was waiting to get my temporary residency in Russia, and then when I finally got it, I was like, let's go somewhere, and for whatever reason we didn't go anywhere in January. And then after January, like February, like it was getting closer and closer to when Evita should have been born. So yeah, and then once she was actually born, you know, we couldn't go right away. We had to get her Russian passport, then a Canadian passport, and just lots of stuff. And then I had to apply for permanent residency here. Like there's just a schedule for all this bureaucracy. And finally, I was like, okay, we gotta go somewhere, I did laser eye surgery, by the way. I don't think I mentioned it in the previous video. So that also delayed things a little bit, because I had to stick around to go like to my checkups. So that put us back another like 3 weeks. And I was like, okay, we have tickets to Canada in September. We gotta go do something. Like, we lived in Russia for so long, we gotta go see something here.
And it's a good spot. You can fly to Asia, you can fly to Europe, you can fly south, you can...
Yeah, from Moscow. Like, it's a massive city. We have 4 international airports, so like you can get cheap tickets like to a lot of places. Really cheap tickets to Europe. So, and even like to New York, you can get tickets like return trips for like $300 sometimes. It's crazy. Like 500 for sure. But anyway, we're like, so there were so many options, and we looked at so many options. We looked at like vacation packages just to like relax in the beach. Most Russians, by the way, most Russians go to Turkey. Like, I mean, that's the most popular destination for Russians to go to. And then like Europe's a little bit less popular because they need a visa. But still, like Greece is pretty popular, Italy, I don't know, Spain kind of popular. Like in the winter they go to like France or Switzerland for skiing, but you have to be kind of rich to do that. Some people go to Thailand and Vietnam, but that's more expensive, a lot more expensive than Turkey or Tunisia or Morocco. They used to go to like Egypt and Turkey equally, because they were both pretty cheap, but then I don't know, there was like a scandal where you couldn't, they canceled all flights to Egypt, and then a lot of the resorts closed down because there were less Russians. And yeah, so Egypt, although there are flights to Cairo now, they don't fly directly to the resort towns, I don't think, and it just kind of died. So maybe it will pick up again in the future. But anyway, and recently there was a similar, maybe it's not good to compare, but there was another scandal with Georgia and Russia. I don't completely understand it, and I don't really want to get into it, but for whatever reason, Russia also canceled all flights from Russia to Georgia, and so it became a lot harder to get there. And all the Russians who had already like booked trips to Georgia, which is like, how many people did they say? It was like 100 and some thousand, I think they said. Like Russians had to cancel their trips. Like they were one of the biggest, well, Russians were the most tourists, like the biggest number of tourists that go to Georgia were Russian, and now they can't, basically. But you can still go by land. So recently I was looking at a list of the cheapest countries in the world, and Georgia was like number 9. And there's a lot of cool things about Georgia. Like everybody says good things about Georgia who's been there. They have really simple immigration laws too, and tourists, like even as a tourist you can stay for 12 months without a visa, like from most countries. And the food is awesome, the people seem to be really cool. And so I thought, I was just laying on the couch and I thought, wait a second, the fact that the flights are canceled and that so many people cancel their trips is actually a cool thing for us. Because if we go there, that means there's way less tourists, even though it's usually like loads of tourists in the summer. I'm sure there's going to be lots of tourists from other countries too, and Russians, but way less than there would have been. And it's cheap, and everybody says good things about it, so we've always wanted to go. So anyway, we thought, let's go. And I've also always wanted to go to the south of Russia, to the Caucasus. It's a mountain chain. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but like mountains, Caucasus Mountains. And there are 20, I don't know, 22, 26 republics in Russia. There's a lot of republics, and these republics, all of the republics have like their own language, their own culture. So we are on our way to that area, the south of Russia. It's like the southwest of Russia, but everybody just calls it the south because it's as south as you can get. We're going today to Voronezh. It's a city just 500 kilometers south of Moscow. I lived there when I was 18 for 4 months. I taught English. That was my first trip outside of North America. My first trip, across the ocean, and I taught English there. So I'll tell more about it when we're actually there. What do you want to say?
You didn't speak.
I didn't speak any Russian. Now I speak good Russian.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
So yeah, we're going there. That's why I wanted to stop by, just to see some places that I remember, but I haven't been back like for, I guess it's like 12 years, right? So it'll be interesting to go back. And then we're going pretty far. Like the next train we take will be at 31 hours, I think. And we're going to Grozny, which is in Chechnya. Then we're going to Vladikavkaz, which is in North Ossetia. I don't think that's how you say it, I'm not sure. And then we'll go to Georgia, and to Tbilisi, the capital, and the coast. Then we're going to Azerbaijan, to Baku, and then we will go to Dagestan, which is also a republic in Russia, to Derbent and Makhachkala, I think. So we'll see. Some things are still up in the air, but we're definitely going to Grozny in 2 days. So
maybe we should put a map. So
yeah, we'll definitely show a map. Yeah, so you get a bit of a picture, and of course you will see and get a much better picture if you just keep watching our videos. We're gonna try to post them kind of as we go, like much quicker than we have in the past. So,
and I should mention that I really like, both of us, John and I, we really like traveling by train.
Yeah.
And especially for myself, I mean, since I was a kid, yeah, I traveled by train a lot, so from Russia, from Moscow to Ukraine, to Kiev, to Khmelnytsky, and I did it so many times, and each time I like it so much. Like when the sound of the train, of like the wheel, and when it's, I don't know, it can be snowing, it can be raining outside, but inside it's so cozy, and you can drink tea, you can read a book, you can, I don't know, sing songs for your baby now. And I just really like the atmosphere of traveling by train. And I think if you guys thinking about go to Russia, I highly recommend you to buy some train tickets and to travel somewhere in Russia or in Ukraine or in Georgia, in Azerbaijan. I mean, in any country, pretty much any country where they have railway. I don't know.
Railways?
Yeah, it's really nice. It's so cool.
And very accessible. Like like I said, we bought these tickets yesterday, so and we don't have anybody up above us. So like it depends on the season. You can be lucky, but like we're going to Voronezh now, and every day there's like 15 trains that go to Voronezh, for example. So yeah, there are loads of options and different classes.
And how much did we pay for 11 hours? 12 hours, right?
I showed it on the phone with the ticket.
Oh, okay.
But the full amount, just so you get a bit of a picture, well, you'll see as we go along, but we've calculated that approximately the full amount that we'll spend on transportation in this trip for a month is like 54,000 rubles. So it's, I don't know, it's for 3 people. I mean, the baby travels for free, but like for a month trip, it's pretty cool, and it's pretty big distances, as you will soon see, and that includes a flight back to Moscow. This may be the end of our filming today, unless we think of something else very interesting. But yeah, we're just gonna relax here, get some sleep. We purposely took a longer train. I think I'd already told that, yeah. So we can get a more full night of sleep, hopefully. And
it depends on.
We'll see. We'll see. But we'll see you tomorrow for sure.
Thank you for being with us.
Thank you. Yeah.
Good night.
Good night.